Just about 2 months ago, I got a lead that came in on a house in Cape Coral. One of the juiciest deals I've seen in a long time. Didn't really need that much work, and I could have turned it around and probably made a six-figure profit in just a couple of weeks, or maybe just a month or two at the most. Let me tell you guys how this all started. So the lead came in just like any other lead, and I followed up, gave them a call, and no answer. So then I sent a text out and I said, hey, listen, I wanted to just introduce myself. You signed up on my website, wanted to know if you wanted to sell your house. And the guy acted really weird and acting like he didn't know who I was or why I was reaching out to him. Very strange character. So nothing came of it. And then I was doing my follow up maybe about a week later, and I sent him another message and asked him, hey, listen, are you still interested in selling the property? After all, you did reach out to me on my website. And he says back to me, oh, yes, I am. And he was really suspicious about like who I was. So it's one of those kind of people that I guess it might have been burned in the past, or maybe has some bad experiences or whatever the case. So we messaged back and forth, and we decided to meet up in person because it wasn't that far. And I went there on the following Saturday, and when I got there, something was off, because prior to getting there, I was trying to do as much research as I could on the property to not just go there and not know what I'm talking about. But for some reason, the house was wiped clean off of Google. You couldn't even find it on Google Maps anywhere. And when you tried to look up the house next door, well, his house was blurred out. So I know I've heard of people doing that before, where you can actually blur the house out. So very strange. I couldn't find any Zillow info in it. Couldn't really find anything at all. So I finally got there, and when I pulled up, I was expecting a dump. Nothing could have prepared me for it. The house was picture perfect. And then I called the guy, let him know, hey, listen, I'm outside, and I see a nice car in the driveway. I'm not sure if that's his house or not. Like I said, I was expecting like a really bad situation, but it wasn't. And the guy said, yeah, it's me. So I went up to the door. Very nice guy, shook his hand, and then got a really good vibe from him right off the back. And so I told him, I was like, yeah, sorry, I didn't know what house I was looking for, because when I looked it up, I just couldn't find anything on it. He's like, yeah, no, I did that on purpose because I'm a ex law enforcement, and we kind of want to keep our stuff private for security reasons and all that. I was like, oh, now that makes total sense. And he was telling me, he's like, oh, when you reached out to me, your caller ID came up as Progressive Insurance, which is weird. I don't know why my office line comes up as that. I guess Progressive must have owned that number many, many years ago. And he was like, I thought you were some kind of a scammer. And I was like, no, understood. So then everything made sense. We got along really great. And then he started just chatting it up, showed me the house. He liked to talk. The guy was a talker, so I didn't have to force him into that. But I got a little comfortable, and I made some big mistakes, which led me to ultimately not getting in this house, guys. I'm going to tell you right now is I did a lot of rookie mistakes. I'm going to walk you through what happened, and then I want to tell you what I would do differently if I would have just stuck to the plan, if I would have just stuck to the framework that I normally do. So let me go ahead and tell you. Well, the house was great. I told the guy that what he was asking for the house, which was, I believe, $250,000. I told him, no problem. That's fine. We can do that price, and I'd love to be the one to buy it from you. I'll work with you if you need some time to stay here, after the fact, if you need a couple of days or weeks to move. If there's any furniture you can't take with you, don't worry, I'm going to get a dumpster anyway. I'll just toss it out. So we got along really great. And then I made the fatal mistake of oversharing my personal life. And I told this guy that I was going away for a couple of weeks. And so what we could do is we can write up the offer before I go. He can sign off on it, and then when I get back, we can close. Now, what I thought was the right thing to do at the moment, because I was kind of being, sharing with him, and trying to break down any barriers between like one cold business partner to another business partner. I tried to make it more like, okay, well, it's a friendly situation. I want you to know what I'm doing, and I was leaving on vacation for 2.5 weeks, and so I thought it was a good idea to share that with him, just in case we go under contract and he finds out I'm not in the country. He doesn't get all scared. So I told him, let's go under contract and I'll close when I get back. He sounded like he was all cool with that. So then later on that day, I wrote up the offer, sent it to him. Very simple 3-page offer. No attorney needed. In Florida, you don't need an attorney anyway, but all language that you can understand. And then he writes back and he says to me, oh, I need a couple of changes made here, and I need a couple of things there. And I said, no problem, that's fine. And then he also said to me that I would feel more comfortable if we can just wait until you get back and sign off on the contract, because if anything happens to you while you're away, I just don't want to be, tied up on an offer. And I said, well, that's totally understandable. But I said, I can put it into the offer where if something does happen to me, the offer terminates. There's no liability to you. There's nothing you need to worry about. And the guy just went cold. That was the last time that we spoke, and that was through email. So I figured, he just wants to wait. And in that email, he said something to me that most novices would probably be like, oh, okay, well, that's a good sign. I thought of it as a huge red flag, but unfortunately, there was nothing I could do about it because I was literally on another continent, right? I was somewhere else. Is that another continent? Central America? Who knows? It's probably part of another country for sure. And what it turns out is that he wrote in his email that, don't worry, I'm a man of my word. And every single time anyone has ever said, I'm a man of my word, or I work on a handshake, it's always a red flag. So guys, if anyone ever says to you that, or tries to say how much of a good person they are, that's a red flag. Be careful, because good people don't tell you they're good people. Honest people don't say, oh, I'm an honest person. Be careful. So he said that, and I was nervous, and I said, oh man, there's nothing I can do about it. He's not answering my emails. He's not answering my text messages. I'm just gonna have to wait till I get back, and then we'll follow through. So I just let him know, listen, no problem. When I get back, we'll consummate everything. So I get back, and the very next day after I get back and have a full day here just to kind of catch up, I wrote him, no response. No response by text message, no response by email, no response by phone call, nothing. I said, oh, this guy played me out, just like I thought he was going to play me out. So then finally I followed up with him again like a week or two later, and he asked, oh, who is this? He didn't have my number saved, I guess, right? And I said, oh, it's Lewis. We had spoken about, purchasing your property. I was just wondering if you were still interested. I'd love to put this deal together with you. And then he turns around and says, oh, no, you never got back to me on an email, so I went with another offer. I'm like, what do you mean got back to you? I responded to every single message you said. But again, guys, in the real estate world, business world, negotiating world, these are all just kind of like smoke screens that people throw at you to kind of make you feel like you did something wrong so they can go behind your back and do something else. Now I figured to myself, maybe the guy got more for his house, or, maybe he had met with someone before me and they had already kind of signed off on something. But no, turns out the guy who he sold it to probably came after me and was someone from Miami. I don't know why you would trust a home flipper from the other side of the state when I'm literally in your backyard. So it turns out that he did accept an offer that was actually lower than the one he had initially given me. And I'm thinking to myself, why would he do that, right? And sometimes when people are not thinking rationally, they'll just give up a lot of equity for convenience. And I guess that's what he did. So it turns out he kind of gave me all these excuses and told me that he went with someone else. And I told him how really disappointed I was because, we had spoken and we had communicated about how this was basically a handshake deal. And, I did respond to him every single time he responded to me. And I said, listen, I don't know if you got the wrong guy, but I responded every single time. And I'm a person of character. And I want to make sure that, you don't really think it's me who did something wrong here. But I said, at the end of the day, listen, if you went with someone else, God bless you. I wish you nothing but the best. But if anything changes, just let me know. I left it like that. Now, a month goes by, guys, and I get a text message out of nowhere where he says, oh, it seems like the people that I was selling to, they're trying to renegotiate the deal and may not be closing. I said, wow, this is music to my ears. This is amazing. I was so happy. I told one of my business partners about it, and I said, this is such good news, right? So then we're talking back and forth. He's telling me how the other home buyer is kind of like just really kind of like running them through the dirt and just not people of their word. I guess that it gets old in this business because a lot of people say things they don't do. And he was saying, look, my deadline to close is by this last Wednesday that just passed. And if they don't close, then the house is yours, And then he kind of just told me, is just ragging on them and telling me everything that they basically were saying. So it turns out I did a little research because when I got back from Guatemala, I did a little research because he was acting weird. So I Googled his address, and prior to when I Googled his address, nothing came up. But this time around, when I Googled his address, a website came up where the person that had purchased his house or was under contract to purchase his house had actually listed his home as a wholesale somewhere else, which if you guys are not familiar with what a wholesale is basically if I'm the wholesaler, the person buying the home, I'm going to tie you up as a homeowner. I'm going to give you a paper contract, maybe give you $1,000, as a deposit, sometimes nothing. And then I'm going to go and find someone else to pay more for it. In this case, I thought it was 25,000 more because they were listing it for 275. It turns out it was actually 40,000 more because they had it under contract with this guy for 230. So it turns out that they were trying to wholesale this deal on them. And I said, listen, well, you signed an offer with a wholesaler and this person's trying to wholesale your property. And, it's not something that I would have done. I would have just, been a man of my word and just bought it outright. That's not, if I was going to wholesale, I'll wholesale it after you're out of the picture, because to me, it's just a little bit conniving if the person doesn't know you're doing that. So it turns out that the guy said, the house is yours if they don't close by Wednesday. So I text them on Tuesday, just to say, hey, how are things going? Does it look like you guys are going to be closing? Oh, actually, they were going to close on Tuesday. So Wednesday, I was going to go under contract with them. So I text them on Tuesday and I said, hey, how are things going? Did you close on the house? You know what I got back? Nothing. Crickets. The guy is not responding to me. So guess what? Turns out that he must have sold the house, because if not, he would have been all over me like he was when he thought that the other people weren't going to close. So why am I telling you this story? And why is this such a valuable lesson to me? Because I deviated from the framework that we need as negotiators in business and life and in real estate and anything. There are some simple steps that we need to follow and not to deviate from that. Number one, the first thing that I have to do, that I should do, or that maybe you guys want to take this into consideration next time you're negotiating, is ask the questions. Ask questions. And I did that part, right? So that part I nailed. I got that part right. So number one is ask questions. Number two is build rapport. I built rapport with this guy. I did a great job at it. I asked him about his personal life, his history, the house. He's been married a bunch of times. He kind of let his guard down. We were pals, right? We were doing just fine. Now, the step number three, which I completely messed up, and this is one of the steps that I messed up, is I overshared. I told him too much about myself, which was a problem because I overshared the fact that I was going on vacation for a couple of weeks, which gave him reason to think that since I'm going to be going away, maybe this deal is not going to close. Maybe something's going to happen to him while he's away, or maybe he's going to take longer and not come back on time. Something's going to happen because he's not going to be in the country. So my fault. I overshared. Next thing is that I didn't have a blank offer with me. I should have brought me a blank offer or even created one on my phone or on my laptop while I was there, and I did not. Rookie move, rookie mistake. I had no idea what I was in for, but it was just something that I'm never going to do again. Obviously, if you guys are watching this and you're getting into real estate, or you're in real estate and you're negotiating deals, remember, guys, follow these simple steps. And number 5 was I did not close while I was there. I verbally closed, handshake closed, but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't add up to a hill of beans, as they say. So a couple of steps that I know for the future that I have to definitely take away. Hopefully you guys take that away as well if you're getting into real estate. But the Lord is good. God never leaves you empty-handed, because when one door closes, another one opens, and we got ourselves an even better property. So stay tuned for that. We'll cover that in the following videos. But I also wanted to just quickly break down what we covered here today, guys. The most basic steps are basically the ones that you should always stick to. Don't try to get cute and fancy and deviate. That was my problem, right? Or you do whatever you want, but I'm not going to do that anymore. So that was one of the things that I took away from this lesson, and hopefully you guys do as well. And next, it cost me a lot of money, so it won't happen again. You learn with these life experiences when your money is on the line. I've always said to everyone, you learn more when your money is on the line. Never out of a textbook, never out of a course, never out of just like something without real life application. So with that being said, guys, hopefully this lesson that I learned, it was a very valuable lesson, is something that you guys can take away as well. And if you think this content was good, guys, you're in for a treat, because we are working on one of the best pieces of education I've ever put together in my life. It's going to be a very comprehensive real estate course on how to invest, how to get into investing with no money like I did, how to create a very nice portfolio where you guys can actually leave a legacy for your family. If you guys are into that, go ahead and use the link down below. There's going to be an early bird special for anybody who signs up before the course is ready. So it's going to be very exciting stuff, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys are into this kind of content and you liked it, please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you want to see more videos, or if you're listening to this as a podcast, go ahead and check out the other ones that we have on our channel. Go ahead and click on one of the videos right over here, or check out our playlist. Thank you guys for watching. I love you, and I will see you next time.